Hi there, I'm Suzanne, a creative Canadian crafter, and I'm self-isolating like the rest of the world. Being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator has allowed me to accumulate a pretty awesome stash of supplies. In this series, I'm planning on using it. So let's have some crafty fun together, virtually, and share your creations with others when you can. For those of you who are with me, please share your creations under the hashtag #IsolationCreations. In the March 2020 Paper Pumpkin kit, there was a free stamp. It was called the Spring Splash Stamp Set, and I promised to do a Paper Pumpkin-like video. So this is my first creation. I have Grace's Garden ornate dies here, and this little arbory fence die I'm going to cut. Two of them out of crumb cake, I believe. Set that aside. And then I have the Subtles embossing folder, and this is Whisper White thick card. And I'm going to run that through the my embossing machine. Now I have just a little touch of glue, and I'm going to stick these two fences together. And I'm going to do just a little fussy cutting so that middle piece looks kind of a little bit like it's supposed to. And I did take some pictures at the end of each segment like I do in the Paper Pumpkin videos. And I honestly, you can't see that I actually did emboss the paper, but just trust me that it is embossed with that very subtle texture. It's like linen, actually. All right, so using Memento Tuxedo black ink, I have inked up my boots stamp, and then this was shaded spruce. And honestly, I don't think that my stamp was inked up well enough, so I'm going to stamp these grass images a couple of times. So the first time I just did direct ink to stamp, and this is now marker to stamp. It is still shaded spruce. And then this image actually has it almost looks like wheat or grass seed, or could be flowers on the tips of the grass. So I'm going with it, and I'm bringing in my gorgeous grape marker, ink marker. And I have all of the colors in the inks as well as in the pens. It's my job partly. And partly, it's because I have full set syndrome. I'm sure a couple of you have that as well. I have inked up my dauber here, and I just wanted to create sort of more depth at the base of the grass. So you can see a little closer to the images there that I have. This is Blackberry Bliss. I believe it is the light one. I can't remember. You're just going to have to forgive me. I didn't write down a lot of the supplies as I was making these creations. I know this one is Gorgeous Grape. I can read it. But anyway, so that was Gorgeous Grape Dark. And then this might be Highland Heather. And, I can't remember. And that's okay. I can't see it on my video screen. Anyway, it's a purple. It's one of the two. And I wanted to have sort of these wellies look a little bit off color, like they kind of do look that way. Anyway, I'm just having fun coloring. Of course, if you're wanting to duplicate any of these creations, please just use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy anything. This is just to give you a little bit of inspiration how to use that stamp set that came in the Paper Pumpkin kit. I am going to do some fussy cutting now, and I know a lot of you think that I'm insane for fussy cutting as much as I do. Please remember that I am an out-of-work hairdresser, and I miss using shears and scissors, and I miss chatting with my clients probably the most. But I do like to cut. Or use scissors and fussy cut, and it doesn't bother me. It relaxes me. So obviously I made a career out of doing it, so I'm not doing too badly there. I've put dimensional adhesive on the back of my fence, and I'm going to plunk it down kind of, not quite half. And then I'm going to cut off the excess for sure. And now I'm going to start building my scene. So dry adhesive on the back of the darkest colored, I want to say grass, grass, flowering grass, whatever. And then I'm just I've sort of measured it and made sure that the grass it's going to go right behind the boots. So I don't want to have a lot of white showing behind the boots. So I did stamp an extra, I think 2 little grasses than the ones that I shared with you. And then I have dimensionals on the back of my boots, and I will put dry adhesive on the top of the boots. So this sentiment says, "You are capable of amazing things." I got that from the Paper Pumpkin kit that was this March. I've put dimensional adhesive on the back of that strip, sentiment strip. I'm going to cut off the excess there and the excess that's hanging off the edge. And then I am going to put my purple wellies right in front, and it's going to hide that unsightly seam that the sentiment was on as well. And I do fix that. I don't want to make this person feel like they have crooked legs. But hey, maybe you can still do amazing things with crooked legs. I'm sure of it. We're not perfect. All right. So now I have to put dimensionals on the back of my settles piece. And yes, you can't see it in the pictures, like I said, but you can see it in real life. And I'm attaching this to a Whisper White thick card base. And that I put Wink of Stella on the fence. And that's it. Card number 2, starting out with my Stamparatus. And if you've never seen a Stamparatus before, this is what it looks like. It has 2 doors. I've inked up my boots with Balmy Blue. I can't remember. Yes, it was Balmy Blue. And then I should have inked up my other set of boots with the mint macaron, but I decided to go with the black line first, and then I put on the mint macaron, and then now I'm gonna go back. So I could have made it one step less, but hey, it was still pretty darn quick. Using the Stamparatus is a very lovely thing, to be honest. Okay, I can't even remember what these dies are called. Nesting dies, I think. And I used, so I cut the nesting die out of, I wanted to make a window basically. So that was a thick Whisper White. And then I stamped the basket of flowers and the sentiment that says, "Wishing you brighter days ahead." And that came with the Paper Pumpkin kit. And now I'm just fitting a little piece of paper that'll go behind my window there. I have used mint macaron for the leaves in this coloring. And I believe I'm also using Gorgeous Grape. No, Highland Heather. Sorry, I started off with Highland Heather for the flowers I don't know why, but they felt like they were purple flowers to me. So I don't think I colored them orange or yellow or anything. They were purple flowers to me, and I had to stick with it. I did fussy cut this bouquet out. I'm getting all the components ready for my card, and I don't know how you create, but a lot of times I'll make these components and then sort of shuffle them off to the side, and then I will at the very end put everything all together. So it does seem like, you know, I'm going all over the place. Like right now I'm cutting out the sentiment strips, but it's just because that was the next thing I had to cut. So I kind of do things in batches. I'll stamp in batches. And in this particular case, I have pulled out 5 different colors and I've cut strips of paper. Now this is an adhesive sheet that Stampin' Up! Used to sell. We don't sell it anymore, sadly. However, it doesn't mean that you can't use something that's in your stash that's similar. This would be, you could cover a piece of card, and this was the one that I measured to go behind the window. You could use like just regular dry adhesive if you wanted, or wet adhesive if you want. This to me makes it so much easier because this whole piece of paper is now a sticker. And I can put my colors. I kind of tried to choose Easter colors. So the colors I have here, I think that is Pool Party. The next is Soft Sea Foam, Balmy Blue, Mint Macaron, and Highland Heather. So just strips of colors that I thought were very Easter or spring-like. And I always, even my mom said this, actually. She doesn't watch my videos, by the way. She just always comments on my blog and supports me in that regard. She's too busy, you know, as a retired 84-year-old person to actually waste her time on the YouTube, don't you know? Anyway, she said that I would always gravitate to blues, even though she desperately wanted us girls to like pinks and, you know, girly like colors, purples and stuff. So every time I wear a pink color, she always exclaims, "Oh, how lovely, what a lovely color on you, Susanne." All right, here's another one of my favorite things. I was joking in the last card about how I miss cutting hair. So again, I get a little bit of a taste of that by trimming off the excess of these strips of colors. And now I am just putting adhesive behind that Whisper White Thick cardstock with the nesting die out of it. And now I am turning it over, and then I'll put dimensional adhesive on the back of this. So I use Stampin' Dimensionals from Stampin' Up! But of course, I've seen people use Fun Foam. you know, whatever turns your boat. Or you don't have to pop it up at all if you didn't want to. I felt it required it. All right, so these are the boots that I chose. This is the Mint Macaron, but I'm going to use those Balmy Blue boots in another card, the next card coming up. I also stamped the sentiment on a piece of Highland Heather, and I cut out the Brighter Days sentiment. And now I've put Wink of Stella all over the bouquet, and that is card number 2. Card number 3. This is a thick piece of Whisper White cardstock. I have a pencil and a ruler, and at the half-inch mark from the bottom, I'm going to draw a line. It just helps me keep my stamping straight. And now I'm going to ink up my boots. I'm using Smoky Slate, I believe. Or no, this is Gray Granite, pardon me. So I'll stamp the boots 4 times. And one off the edge there. And then I will come back in. Oh, I'm going to put, oh yes, glue, multi-purpose glue over that first set of boots that I stamped. And here comes those Balmy Blue boots. So I'm just going to glue them straight to the card and wait for that to dry. I am using a piece of dark or black cardstock here, my Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink, and I will stamp "I believe in you" right at the edge of this black card. And then I'm going to sprinkle some white Stampin' Emboss powder, and I'm heating up my heat tool, and I don't take it to my paper straight away. I make sure it's real hot before I melt my embossing powder. And when I'm using thicker cardstock, I go from the front, and when I'm using thinner cardstock, I will heat from behind. Now I'm using my handy dandy trusty trimmer here to trim this little strip. I actually used a baby wipe to wipe it clean. And then I am putting dimensional adhesive on the back of that strip. But first, I have to use my eraser to erase my guide line or pencil line. So this strip is called adhesive strips. It is double the thickness of a dimensional, so it has some real heft to it. And it is perfect for sentiments, long, skinny sentiments, and shaker cards. I haven't made a shaker card in a real long time. I think I have just challenged myself. All right, so I'm going to fold my card with my bone folder. And that is card number 3. All right, card number 4. I can't decide whether number 4 or number 5 is my favorite. Actually, I really all like these. So I have a porous surface here. This is my Stamparatus grid mat that I have laminated, and I am using my sponges, and all of my sponges are nicely seasoned, and I am sponging every color of blue that Stampin' Up makes on this tiny piece of Whisper white card. So I started off with Pool Party. I have Balmy Blue. I am now Night of Navy, and you can tell the Night of Navy, it's so different than the rest. Coastal Cabana is next, and Bermuda Bay, which is like a darker Coastal Cabana, I'm going to do in the far corner there, and I put it on quite deeply. And then I went into Pacific Point. This is probably one of my favorite colors. It's very pretty bright blue. And Blueberry Bushel, which is one of the in colors, the old in colors. It'll be leaving us with this new catalog, sad to say. Pretty Peacock, I'm working on next. And then one of my favorite slow burner inks is this Seaside Spray. It is quite a lovely blue. It's kind of got a purple hue to it. I quite like it actually a lot. Funnily enough, that piece actually gets, or that section of blue gets covered up with my final design. I have my Stampin' Mister here. I've taken the little spray nozzly thing out, and I'm flicking water on my card, and this creates a bleach spot. Now normally I don't have paper towel in my home, but I did buy it in case I ran out of toilet paper, and you know, I've used a couple sheets here in the craft room. All right, so I have inked up the sentiment. Again, the sentiment says, wishing you brighter days ahead. I started off with blue, Coastal Cabana, I think, and then I just went with Memento Tuxedo Black, and I will be cutting that strip out. So I have inked up this doorway. I'm not exactly sure, and here I am trimming the sentiment out. I'm not exactly sure why the stamp has half a door. It actually, I'm a little OCD about stuff like this, and having half a door frame. I guess it's supposed to be kind of artistic, but I think I would have appreciated just a full door, to be honest. But I'm coloring it anyway, and I've managed to work with it with my design. So I'm coloring with, this is Daffodil Delight Blends markers, light and dark. I think I use Mango for the lanterns, Real Red for the lanterns, light and dark as well. The Stampin' Up blends are a very lovely coloring medium. It's not hard, it's very intuitive. I'm using gray granite here, and that flower pot was lovely lipstick. This is light black, which you would think was gray, right? It's light and dark black. And then here I go with dark gray or smoky slate. And I've also done the handles there, or the railing. And then this is Balmy Blue. Or this might be Seaside Spray. Pardon me, it's Seaside Spray because it's my new favorite color. And then it's Balmy Blue for the inside panels of the door. And then I actually go in and around the windows, I put Pretty Peacock Light. I don't think I captured that on video though. But I wanted a blue door, and sadly my Coastal Cabana, which I would have colored it in Coastal Cabana, those blends are drying up, so I have to get new ones. Granny Apple Green is still one of my favorite greens. So bright and cheerful and yellow, and it goes with everything. And it blends so well with every single blue color and every single green color and every single yellow color. It's like the most versatile color around. I love it. So this is my trimmer, and I'm trimming down the house or the door. And then I'm ripping towards me. So the door is upside down. I'm ripping towards me, so that it looks like, you know, it was meant to be. And then, I embossed a Sahara Sand piece of paper, and it was embossed it with brick. So I probably chatted. Oh yes, I was chatting about the toilet paper issue. Anyway, so you might have missed that. Anyway, moving on. So I put this behind some Seaside Spray card. Isn't that lovely? I love it. Put dimensional adhesive on the back. Put it on a Whisper White thick card base. Oh, so many blues in that. It looks like a lovely sky. So here is I think that's gray granite actually. I'm not sure. It might be gray granite. I can't remember sometimes. Not when you edit like a lot of designs in one go 4 days ago. All right, so I'm putting this all together in a manner that is pleasing to me. Now in the Paper Pumpkin kit came a whole bunch of these clear droplets, and I'm trying to use them up. I love them. I wish we had something like this. And just a close-up so that you can see what I'm doing, but I am using my Take Your Pick tool and placing those little raindrops. And now I have the Wink of Stella, and I'm doing as many things as I can with that. And then I think I went in here and colored the windows darker with peacock. Yep. And then folding with my bone folder. And that is card number 4. My last and final card for the Spring Splash stamp set is coming right now. I am using stamping mask paper. I've cut a circle out of it. We don't have stamping mask paper. Stampin' Up doesn't. You can use a Post-it note if you want, or just a regular piece of paper. This is a 4 1/4 by 4. Well, I wanted it to be a finished 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 sized card. So as you can see, I found the middle of my card base, and I also found the middle of my circle, and I've placed my mask right in the middle. Now, you probably remember me talking about Granny Apple Green, which is by far the most versatile green on the planet. It is so pretty. So, and I used to really like that. We used to have another color similar to it. It was lime, something lime. It wasn't, this is far greater of a color because it has just a touch more yellow, I think, to it. And it blends so prettily with every color. So I'm using Pacific Point here. And look at the beautiful ink blending that happens between Pacific Point and Granny Apple Green. It is the most beautiful, like, turquoise color. And as I lay down the ink, so obviously I love ink blending or sponging, people call it. I love it. And it makes me happy. So I'm gravitating towards that technique quite a bit in these days while I'm creating, because I want to create with techniques that I absolutely love. So, but I know that a lot of people have had a hard time with ink blending, and the only advice that I could give is make sure your sponges are very, very seasoned, and it takes a long time to get ink on that paper. Don't rush it. Very gentle and soft at first, and build up the color layer by layer. And then once you have it, this is perfect. And it, like, the ink will dry back a little bit, so it'll blend so lovely. I'm doing the same technique by adding some water to my card base, and then I remove the mask. And now I am stamping with shaded spruce. And then now I'm using a Post-it note just to mask off, because I don't want to get that grass on the outside of the circle. And I think this is Sahara sand, or it might be, I bet you it's crumb cake. And I'm just sort of daubing on a little bit of dirt on the bottom. And then the top is the Seaside Spray ink color. And I'm just sort of daubing on a little bit of that to give it just a little extra, not white. I've inked up my basket of flowers and with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I believe this is Purple Posy now, which is an even lighter color than Highland Heather. And I'm going in with shaded spruce for the leaves. And then crumb cake for the basket. And again, like I said, I didn't do the flowers in any orange or yellow. And you know what? Now I'm looking at it and going, I bet you that would have been just perfect too, had I had beautiful orange or mango and flirty flamingo, which is another color combination I really, really like as well. So I'm trying to create some dimension with my coloring, leaving the strip in the middle more white so that it looks like a dimensionalized flower bucket. And I have fussy cut this out because I'm going to be popping this basket of flowers on top of my grass. I hope everybody's doing out okay. I hope you're still creating. Stamping is one of the best things to do to pass the time, to relieve stress, and to give joy to someone. All at the same time. Stamping is amazing. It's very therapeutic. All right, so here's some more of that adhesive sheet that we don't sell anymore. I am using up some of my stash. So again, there is substitutes for this. I am using my circle dies, and I'm going to cut this ring out 3 times. So there's adhesive on the back of that black card. So I'm taking off the release paper and I'm going to squish them all together. So it'll be a 3 cardstock layer ring. Now at this point, if you don't have adhesive sheet, you could use glue. You could also use just regular adhesive, like, you know, your tape runner. Any kind of dry adhesive actually probably would work better than glue, but glue is fine too. I just don't like how sticky it gets. All right, so I'm now putting my little circle or ring on my card base and sticking it down. And that was so easy to do like that, right? I inked up the sentiment, "I believe in you," that came in the Spring Splash stamp set. And I'm using my adhesive sheet here, my black adhesive sheet, Waste Not, Want Not. I am cutting it out. So it's a lovely Whisper white framed in black. I'm popping up my basket. And then I will be using a dimensional adhesive on that sentiment, but I actually, because there's adhesive on it, I had to sort of pry my scissors right in the middle and remove the backing, but I left the ends so that they don't stick. You know, you getting what I'm picking up? Picking up what I'm throwing down? I've used Wink of Stella on the ring, and then I wish, actually, now that I look at it, I think the ring could have been just a tiny titch smaller. All right, so this is a super close-up, and I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm taking those little droplets and I'm putting them on the flowers. So if anybody runs their finger along these flowers, they will get like a little shiny, bumpy center. Just a little extra, and I'm trying to use up all the supplies that came in that paper pumpkin kit. I tend not to use them in any other form, so while I'm creating other cards for content for my channel, but I thought this would have been the perfect place to use them. So I've put dimensional adhesive on the "I believe in you" sentiment using my bone folder to fold my card. I thank you so very much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf for my blog, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.